Hi, it's Scott. ROCKFILE back with another podcast review for you. Going to talk about the 2012 film Antiviral. This is the debut film from Brandon Cronenberg. Yes, son of David Cronenberg. The Fly, Scanners, bunch of movies since, still making movies. Recently reviewed Crimes of the Future, and he's got a new one coming out called The Shrouds. But his son started making movies back in 2012. And as we learn in some of the extras, he's kind of a reclusive type, and this was the first time him having to deal with a whole bunch of people and stuff, and it was almost cathartic, he said. Brandon Cronenberg wrote and directed this science fiction horror film that your enjoyment of will depend on how much you like Cronenberg movies. He's not a carbon copy of his dad, but he's definitely in the same vein, if you will. This is a science fiction movie that takes place right about now, I would say. And since it came out in 2012, it's way ahead of the game for where we are now. Really, that's some of the best science fiction movies are proven true in, recent future, if you can say that. Anyway, the idea is that people like to get infected with celebrity viruses. Your favorite actress gets sick, a company has the rights to that virus, right? They harvest the virus, they put copy protection on the virus, then they sell it to you, they inject it into you, and you get sick with whatever that person had. It's a more intimate connection with the star is how they sell it. So you can see where this is kind of going and how it can kind of get out of hand. What happens eventually, not to give too much away, is our main character, played by Caleb Landry Jones, in a singular performance that I don't know too many actors who could have pulled this one off. He works at the clinic who harvests these. They're scanned on the way out like any kind of high-tech or illegal activity. They can't take anything home with them. We're dealing with viruses here, and viruses that they somehow put copy protection on. So if you buy the virus, you will get infected with it, but you can't infect your friends with it, nor can you save it or do anything with it. It has this kind of the science fiction part of it has a copy protection on it. So his character works there, but he does smuggle some home. He does break the copy protection and then sells it to people who do other things with the viruses, like growing steaks out of pathogens from the lab, using the viruses and basically harvesting the DNA, and they grow meat cells from celebrities for people to eat. And it's not considered cannibalism because it's really just muscle tissue. Yeah, this one gets pretty weird. And I'm not giving anything away about what happens. So as we get into the story, Sarah Gadon's character, she's Canadian, so maybe it has a French, Sarah Gadon. Anyway, seen her in a few things. She's very good, and she's very good in this, although briefly in it, it's more her image is used in the film. You also have Wendy Crewson, who I haven't seen in anything in quite some time, and Malcolm McDowell makes a few appearances in the film, and he's really good in it, actually. Overall, this $3 million Canadian production, as I told my buddy Chris, as a movie, I'd say it was okay. It was pretty good. As a first-time directorial debut, it's freaking fantastic. Self-assured, it's not one of those movies that's going to put up several paragraphs of what's going on in the world. They just kind of drop you into this new universe, and you figure out through what goes on and in a short period of time what all this is really about, the celebrity virus thing. And I like that, and it's intelligent, and it's not too long. It's only about 108 minutes with the credits. It doesn't overstay its welcome. It could use a few more things for mass consumption, like this isn't going to be as big as The Fly or anything. But again, as a first-time directorial debut, I think it's almost a must-see if you like this guy and the family's work. He made a movie after this, several years after this, called Infinity Pool, which I enjoyed. Again, I like movies that challenge me, and that was a very challenging film. I recently got the unedited longer version of it, so I have to watch that and review it. But after seeing this, I'm kind of excited because really this is the work of somebody who's doing a great, out of the gate, and maybe because he grew up in movies. He grew up with a really famous father. But anyway, very self-assured. The movie works on all levels, and the ending kind of ends with a whimper more than an explosion, but it sticks with you. As all the great Cronenberg movies do. They're disturbing. And if you like this kind of thing as entertainment, then you're really going to enjoy this. If you don't, well, it's sitting about 65% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's been out for over a decade. It's pretty well regarded amongst fans of this kind of thing. I like David Cronenberg movies. I have to be in the mood to watch one. Probably follow it up with a Disney film a lot of times, But same with this one. If you're in the mood for it, it's really good. So we'll talk about the 4K a little bit. Severin got together with Brandon and the cinematographer, Karim Hussein, and they worked together on Infinity Pool as well and some other things to make the 4K. So there's a new making of on the Blu-ray that comes with the 4K that I picked up that goes into great detail that, well, and I'll briefly paraphrase. The movie was filmed digitally back in 2012. This was one of the early days of making feature films digitally. But they did because they were able to get this stark white and this contrast that they wanted for the film. Like everywhere outside of the celebrity homes is pretty much stark white, where he works, where he lives, all that stuff. And they really wanted to get this very, very stark white that they couldn't get with the film. But they did make some 35 millimeter prints for festivals and things like that. And that had a much warmer, kind of almost pinkish red. It was kind of a different thing. So, and they put this up and you get to see both. And it's like, oh, well, they do look like two different movies, really. So with the 4K and with the abilities of 4K and HDR, they were able to scan the 35 millimeter film copies of the movie, but HDR grade it like the digital to give it the stark whites and stuff they wanted. It's a really great picture for a low budget film. This was a $3 million Canadian production. They were using 2012 digital movie cameras. But you get a lot of detail, and man, the close-ups and stuff. This is a very impressive 4K. HDR, colors really pop. Things like glistening blood and things like that really glisten and have nice highlights for a 4K film. It really looks like a movie, almost a classic film done in 4K. It not super sharp like you would expect from a digital film, because again, they scanned the 35 millimeter to make this and got the colors right. It really looks great. They call this the best version of the film. The 5.1 surround sound was good, but not fantastic. It's not immersive, but it's serviceable. It has a lot of things that move around, from cars to sound effects to some of the hallucinogenic effects that go on when he's really suffering from some of these diseases and things. There's a lot of shots of needles. There's a few bloody things, and there's some gross stuff. But it's not as horribly gross as some of his father's films or what he does later on in his career. But again, as a directorial debut, you get a ton of extras on the Blu-ray. You get a short film that this was based on. The whole idea came from the fact he was sick. He had a viral infection. He had a hard time getting rid of it. And when he was coming out of it, I think it was Sarah Michelle Gellar appeared on late night TV and joked that she was still sick, and if she sneezed, everybody get infected, and everybody cheered. And he put those ideas together that people one day might want to be infected with whatever disease their favorite person had. And sometimes it's pretty, these are pretty rough diseases, and they're, anyway, you can get into the science fiction of the story of it. If this sounds like your cup of tea, then definitely pick up the 4K. There's a ton of extras and interviews. I learned a lot about Brandon Cronenberg, a lot about the making of this movie, how Malcolm McDowell and some of the other stars talked about working with him. It was all very fascinating from my aspect. So the new Severin 4K edition, you can get there's a cheap version that has 2 discs, and then there's a 3-disc version that's kind of hard to get, and that has yet a different version of the film that played at one of the film festivals. I think it's only on Blu-ray. It's not on 4K. So if you want to pick that up, like if you really love this movie or think you're going to love this movie, maybe go for that version. But the 2K or the 2-disc version is was fine for me and had a ton of extras to go through. Really enjoyed the whole experience as much as I could say I enjoyed a science fiction horror movie that's kind of ooey gooey and, has a lot of needles going into skin, if that bothers you. So check out Antiviral if it's your cup of tea. If not, avoid it and go watch something more fun. I will have more reviews coming up because, I just got a whole bunch of movies to review. So it's kind of an embarrassment of riches. Have a spectacular day. Thank you for listening to the podcast. Please like, share, and subscribe. And thank you.